And we're live. Welcome everyone to another episode of the VODcast. This is episode 7, I think. That's what I typed in the description. We don't put the numbers in the titles, so like I kind of forget what they are.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what order you watch this in.
No, it doesn't. There's no chronology at all. Unless we're like
I
talking
don't
about
know.
that.
When I start calling OSW by his real first name, you're gonna wish you had the context. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, his real name, fucking
Orlando Southwest.
Orlando Southwest, tell him. But yeah, hopefully y'all been having a good time. We're back from what I'm dubbing the VODcast spring break. Which,
true.
Which is kind of interesting. So since we haven't been here in a couple of weeks, I just figured that we'd spend the first part catching everyone up on what we've been doing. Would anyone like to go first here? Anyone had anything particularly exciting happen in the past 2 weeks in their life?
Not really. Let's see. I was just at home, and I spent most of that like tired of shit.
I mean, I almost died. There's that.
Oh, great.
Not really, but so my medication, which I normally get infused every 6 to 8 weeks for my Crohn's disease, did not kick in after the infusion like it was supposed to.
Oh,
So
yikes.
that wasn't great, and now I have a new additional medication, temporarily ? But it has started to get better, and I might be getting a reinfusion, which is like an early extra dose of the main one. So things are picking up, but that was a fun few days.
Yeah, that sounds so fucking wonderful.
Yeah,
God, Crohn's disease, dude. I don't know. I couldn't
Everyone
live
just
with that. I
moved.
mean, I could literally live with that, but like it just seems like a pain in the ass. But you live.
sorry.
The pain in the ass. I think that's more of a
There we
lactose
go. There we go.
intolerance
We got puns for days.
Oh dear. All right. On my end, as you guys know, I held a Nightshade event this week. We got a qualifiers for Wallflower. The stream for that just ended a little bit ago, but qualifying attempts are still open until midnight, so that leaderboard could be disrupted. But all the times in the top are like within 30 seconds of like the top 5, which is the qualifying period. So the next 2 weeks will
Could
be
be
interesting.
anyone.
In the game for that event, for those of you who don't know, it's an Undertale Yellow LTA or a lifetime attack event. So an Undertale Yellow is only 3 months old, like as a game. So there could actually be major like time save found in the 2 weeks leading up to the main event. So the run could be like different
Imagine.
than what.
Yeah,
it is
imagine
now.
during like the main event, someone finds a time save.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I think logistically for sub hour to be possible, they need to find 30 seconds worth of stuff. So
That's
it's
not
pretty
that
crazy.
much.
No, it's not.
It's both not that much and also a lot.
But when you consider how new the game is, like if it's not
Yeah, when-
entirely
yeah.
cracked yet, there might be something. I don't know how actively they're strat hunting though, but it could be exciting. But yeah, the world record got tied during quals, which is an
Damn.
hour 40 seconds. So that's pretty fucking big. But yeah, that's all the updates from me really. Other than that, you guys know I've been playing Overcooked at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Overcooked is a very fun game.
To clarify, because I had a funny comment in the chat. I'm talking 30 seconds of time save, not 30 seconds of total run time.
Yeah, no.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's on the personal updates. We've also decided to dedicate some time. Commando is going to be delivering an update for us. So if you like, to
Yeah, we
deliver it-
we have updates on all of us, but we need an update on our old friend Love Life School Idol Festival too, you know? Like kind of in a desperate attempt to get some updates on this game, I decided to look on the subreddit. And I have to say the subreddit hasn't been updated all that much. Like
makes
there are
sense.
very sparse posts. There's a promo code that you can use for the game, I think, which is fantastic, I guess. But I've seen a few issues where some people aren't getting event rewards even though the event has been over for a while. That might have been changed. I don't know. And then I remember seeing one where someone was talking about how their game was crashing on their phone, and support told them to just play on an older device.
That's a classic.
Fucking true. Just get an older phone.
I don't understand how this game can be like in such disarray.
Yeah. And then I swear the message was in the chat, but it didn't show up. Yeah. Andrew said School Idol Festival 2 in Japan dies in 14 days. But is it available in North America for a longer amount of time? Like,
it ends in like May. Like the global launch ends in, I want to say, end of May.
Shout out to the VODcast. I got a new PB on Cataclysm and GD while listening. That's what we're here for.
Hey, I got a Blitz PB today, but it was by like no points, so it didn't matter.
Damn.
No, that's a classic.
I didn't get any PBs on anything.
We're going to be talking today about how to PB in community engagement. Get more viewership for our events and stuff. Get more people engaged in them. So this is going to be a pretty interesting topic, as we're all very kind of tied into the event space. I'm still active at less active in TOing. I've ran a lot of big events. You guys have commentated a lot of big events. Been a part of a lot of charity stuff. So this is going to be an interesting one for sure. If we just want to jump into that, unless anyone has any other like general questions for us before we start, then we can just jump into it and see what we're thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything in particular to bring up.
While I'm waiting, I'm going to start the Q&A for this episode.
I guess while we run that, like, I do remember talking with some people about this at some point. It was just like, oh, there's not a lot of people looking at Tetris events. And I remember bringing up a few points. It's like, it is like, I'm thinking like in terms of the general scope about like why people might not be interested.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think the first big thing is that modern Tetris can be kind of daunting to like watch.
Oh yeah,
because I mean we've all seen some high level Tetris play, and like if you're a new person, if you're a person who's like just looking at this for the first time, it can seem very overwhelming to see people play at like 3 pieces per second if you're like in the slower Tetris space, or God forbid you're looking at Tetrio and it's 5 pieces per second. Like that can be hard to follow. That can be really hard to follow, and that's kind of that's probably I personally think one of the biggest handicaps to modern Tetris events for like accessibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just I think this is an interesting thing to talk about. I just came up with the idea for this just now. This is not something that I planned on talking about in this episode, but I think at a certain point you need to draw a line between like, how do I expand the reach for my event rather than how do I expand the reach for the game of the event I'm holding? Because at a certain point, like Tetris is a pretty niche community, and like we draw a lot of parallels to Smash. But I think that can kind of misguide us because Smash is such a popular game, where I think now we need to look our eyes into another set like of communities that I think we could say we have similarities to, rhythm games. So one thing that I think of about rhythm games is, at least in the United States of America, I think they're a pretty like niche offering. Like in North America, compared to like platformers, shooters, all that, rhythm games are fairly they're not played by a lot of people.
No.
And Osu, for example, is like quite a popular game. Osu is the rhythm game Tetrio. That's kind of what I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to call it for all intents and purposes. That is kind of what it is. or Tetrio is the puzzle game Osu, I suppose. Because Osu has its like own game, but a bunch of like fan games like Osu Taiko and whatever are like built into it. So it's rhythm game Tetrio. Okay. And what I'd say there is like when I think of Osu events, I don't think that when they're thinking of growth strategy, they're not thinking of trying to like grow the game. You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to find ways to like get more players to play Osu. So like at a certain point, an event organizer is like tapped out of options to where like they can reasonably grow their event without doing marketing for the whole video game. And then there are certain events where, you know, there are certain events that are designed around marketing the game. But I think that's a whole different beast than running like tournaments, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a very specific way you have to run a tournament to have like to market the game to a new audience. Yeah, and I think like in VTubing that's done pretty well. Like where you can partner with a whole VTube agency, you can get like 20 creators to play your game in front of large audiences. That's like a game marketing campaign versus what we do more of, which is like serving the existing community of the game. And your goal should be how much of the existing player base could we energize. And I think in that particular instance, the accessibility of modern Tetris is a non-issue. Because we're not trying to get like more people to play modern Tetris. We're trying to get as many modern Tetris players to be interested in the event. So that has nothing to do with expanding the player base. Does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that I explained that. All right.
Yeah, it is I guess the question of like expanding the tournament base versus expanding like the awareness of the game. That is a good way to like divvy up the problem with this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So at least my points in general, they work more so in expanding like the event's reach within a community rather than like trying to make the community as a whole larger. It's just like engaging the community more because unless your event has very specific circumstances, it's not going to directly increase the size of the community. Like think of the Tetris World Championship, for example. It was a huge event. But was it huge because we were like turning people into Tetris players? Probably not. It was huge just because it was like marketed really well at making a Tetris player interested in watching the tournament. You know, it had heavy in-game integration. So whenever people casually were playing, they saw it and they're like, hey, there's like a world's going on. And then when you click this link, you go to a website with a lot of flashy animation. It shows off all the players. It shows off the event calendar. It shows off where to watch the games that were happening. So like it was just a really easy way for people to get access to tournaments. And Tetris is like pretty good at that. But then you have like TEC and PBT, where those are like harder communities to access. So the point there is, like, I think those ones have more growth potential than Tetrio tournaments, just because Tetrio is already fairly well integrated. This is another observation that I made.
Yeah.
And then
what
else do we have?
I'm just trying to think because like that's on the Tetrio end, so that's on like Tetrio's end, which is a lot easier. I'd say to like get people to get like stuff promoted because I mean, I don't want to say it's like easier like straight up, but like it's still pretty hard, but it's like definitely it's definitely easier in comparison to getting like say official like tournaments for a official guideline games like PPT or like TC promoted, because I mean obviously those games are developed by like studios and like also works directly with the Tetris company to get those events going. Although like trying to jump through all those hoops is like a lot more difficult compared to like just say maybe reaching out to Osk and just having that be promoted.
Yeah, Osk does a very good job at like making himself pretty accessible to the community. which is
like he has like a whole press kit, right?
Mm-hmm. Like he has a press kit. Like he makes himself pretty open. There are several ways to like contact him, email and like Discord. He'll take DMs and all that stuff. So he's like very accessible for people running community events. And overall, he's just after like getting to interact with him more through the TWC organization process, he's really enthusiastic about his game. And like he wants it to grow and he's willing to like invest time into the community. He did a lot of like the
I think
in-game graphic work for TWC, like solely made these like banners and stuff. So he invests a lot of time into making sure this game's community can be energized, which can't be said for certain Tetris games. There's mainly one that I'm talking about. Because let's talk about Enhanced a little bit here, I guess, in terms of community energization, because they're doing a lot of stuff like that, but not in the same way that Tetrio's doing it. Whereas Tetrio has like a very like helping hands sort of protocol to like growing the community, where like a lot of Tetrio events are community ran but developer assisted, whereas in Enhance's side, like there's Beast and Shen who holds the job there as the community developer, and it's kind of his job to hold a lot of community showcase events himself. So Enhance does a lot of their community development internally, but as a result, they've been able to grow a very large Discord server around their game, and like keep a very active community that notably is not like shared among like other titles. Like there are just Enhanced Discord only people who are active with like Tetris and stuff, but they're only in like Enhance and they only keep their eyes around there. Whereas you'll notice in a lot of Tetrio tournaments, a lot of the players are in like multiple community Discords along with the main games server. And some people are only in community servers and they're not even in the game server just because of how the events are promoted on that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's something very interesting.
I guess one thing I've observed, like while like being in the Enhanced server, is that like they have a space for like TOs to promote their servers. Like you'll see Misty promoting Full Throttle weeklies. You'll see Jaden promoting Supermart stuff, and I mean you'll even see PK promoting their own events in that server. I think though, like I think one thing that I've kind of observed is that a lot of the people in the Enhanced server are fairly new to Discord. And as a result, they're like they don't like I'm like that's fine and all. Like I think it's cool that like a lot of people will join Discord just to like join, you know, a community server like that, but it's really hard to also get them to join a bunch of other servers that also may cover that game as well.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who aren't aware, my bad for interrupting, but Enhance is the publisher of Tetris Effect Connected. They also publish some other like puzzle game related stuff as well.
We could go through their entire game, but like
they have a pretty decent catalog.
Yeah, they have a catalog, but for all intents and purposes, like we're mainly talking about like Tetris Effect here, because that's the one that directly affects us. But yeah, like a lot of people there aren't very familiar with kind of just like Discord or tournaments in general. It's very weird. I remember when we were working with the when the TECWC was going on, which is like Enhance's official Tetris Effect like World Championship. That's what it stands for. They try to make it open to everyone, and they try to open the tournament experience to like everyone in the server. And even there, it's really hard to manage it because like they don't like a lot of people are very new to the experience, and like just looking at tournaments for them, I think can be a little. I don't know where I'm going with this. Like tournaments can be very daunting for people, and a lot of times they don't. A lot of times the people there just don't like to, I guess, branch out or they're not comfortable with branching out yet. I don't know. That's kind of a word salad. Sorry.
I kind of get what you're picking up though. Like if people aren't new to Discord, they're less likely to kind of branch out of where they're comfortable with, and it would take take a lot of effort into that. Whereas like the Tetra community, or here's a better way to put it, right? Like the Tetra Discord server is built primarily like around the game, right? And just the game itself. Whereas the enhanced server is built around like this publishing company. They have multiple projects going on, and it's just like a hub for all the games. Like there's a lot of TEC stuff because it's their most active community, but like they're doing a lot of work in there to push humanity. And you know, there are channels and stuff related to their other games. They have a game called Res Infinite, and they have a game called Luminous Remastered, and those are like the two main ones that are covered in there, which are available
By the way.
many platforms. Yeah, they're really solid. I'm a big fan of Res Infinite, by the way. I'll just say that.
Yeah, really fun game. But that's not really the point.
That's not the main point, but it's just something interesting to notice how like the communities are crafted in different ways. So as a result, like people who frequent there might respond differently to certain like community event promotions and other things, which I think is also kind of important to note. So I've done a lot of like observation stuff to kind of set the stage. So here's the here's the main thing that I could notice about like how we can grow Tetris events. I still think, and to preface this, I might be rehashing a lot of points from a video I made about a year ago, which the title's a bit different than this one. The title, I think, is something called like "How do we make better Tetris content?" So this is a bit different than that, but a lot of the core points are the same. The first one is that I don't think that we use YouTube enough for whatever reason. I just don't think that the community has activated YouTube enough, and some of this is our own fault. Puzzle Kingdom's not the most notorious YouTube tournament uploader, and just like getting the matches on there, but also in general. And here's an early point that I'll bring up in the questions thing. Andrew in the chat pointed out that more rabbit hole content, they call it, that exposes modern Tetris events to the general public would be beneficial. Stuff like documentaries and things like that. And I do think that we kind of a lack of documentaries for the history that has happened, which is interesting.
Definitely that aspect.
And this isn't like blaming anybody, because obviously it's no one's like responsibility to make documentaries, you know what I mean? It's just an interesting thing to note.
Yeah, it's like we're like, this isn't like a discussion to like blame someone on like not doing something, because like people want to make specific kinds of things, and that's perfectly fine. Like, if people don't want to make documentaries, they don't have to. We're not forcing anyone to do, like, nobody's forcing them to do that, but it's just like, it's something that could benefit the community. And I think about it. I think a few things. I might get flack for bringing this up, but I know that the classic community has quite a few of those kinds of videos where it's like documentaries, like events, like those kinds of updates done mainly by like a game scout. You know, like he does a lot of those he does a lot of coverage on the different happenings going on in the classic Tetris community, and like those tend to like get good viewership, and they kind of spread around quick. So
yeah, I will say something as well. Now that I'm in this like different personal era in the community, this is a genre of content that I've heavily considered exploring. So I might experiment with it a little bit, and we'll see what happens. It's just that I'm not
be the pioneer.
I'm not a very good scripted video guy, like in general.
It's really like scripted content. Like going off a script is a lot harder than people will like paint it out to be. It's just like, oh, you're just reading words, but like you can read words in the most boring way to like get people to click off of that video as fast as possible. Like,
yeah, and also there's like you have to be a good writer too.
mhm.
You have to be a good writer of these kinds of scripts. Where I'm kind of a better improv video guy. Like I'm better at just sitting in front of a camera. Like this format, sometimes you can tell, but I think rewatching these episodes, sometimes you can't tell that I have no notes. It's all recollection stuff. I like talking raw to camera. So like just performing a scripted video and then especially going back in the edit and trying to put all of it together really fucks me up. And like I've experimented with like the anime review stuff before, and the reason why I just haven't put more of those out is just because for them to be informative enough, like they have to be scripted. Because there's only certain stuff that you can improv on camera. You sometimes you have to like recollect so much information that
that it's like
it's not gonna work on
you're gonna blow a gasket.
So it's just like that's something where we can't I can't do it, but I might just consider biting the bullet because certain things like certain kinds of content as well, like if I script stuff, I feel weird giving it to an editor, you know what I mean? Like especially like a review type of video like what I was trying to make before. But whereas a tournament recap style video, I'd feel more comfortable giving it like Marshmallow just because it's like it's a more objective recount of something. Whereas like with something like a review, I'd feel more like I'd want to be more in control of like the final output, and I wouldn't want to like fucking burden someone with having to do so many micro adjustments in the video.
Yeah.
Like that's just not something that I'd be up for. But that's that little ramble aside the point. I think more content like that would be good. The right person just needs to come around to make it. And you know, it took Classic plenty of years until a Game Scout popped up and started making documentary videos, which by the way, I do just want to give a shout out to like a Game Scout for the consistency of like how he's put out content. It's well made. It's well made, and
it's really well made, and he's like, it's really interesting to see his content over the years. Like you'll see the videos of him like just starting out in it, and it's just like, wow, what is this like? People still play this game. It's going like from people still play this game to like this guy just got like 10 million points in Classic Tetris.
Yeah, Game Scout's like grown a lot as well in like the video essay format, and I think he's just doing a great job nowadays. Classic's been benefiting from it more than ever. Like they've been seeing a resurgence, and people are getting re-energized, which is awesome. And then as for community events and news articles in this Q&A, I think these are the things that we have down. I think out of those two, those are the things that we have down. And this goes into more of growing the whole community versus activating the community that already exists portion. Documentaries are very good at attracting a new eyes. Yeah. Whereas news articles and community events are tools that we use to kind of engage existing eyes. Like Puyo Tet World Fight Nights, for instance, we're not really getting a lot of new members into the server from those, but you know it is giving people who are around in the community something to look forward to. So it will just keep them around for longer, if you know what I mean. And the same thing goes for like short form content, which I know Wiley and Lyra have been doing quite a few of these YouTube shorts. So shout outs to them as well. The YouTube shorts especially is a discoverability thing. Whereas like with videos, for example, like I've been working with Marshall on these like highlight reels and whatever that go on in my channel, and those kind of serve a double purpose. They get viewers that I've had in existing time just in my own personal channel back into watching my stuff. And they are also a way to outreach to new viewers. Whereas YouTube Shorts truly are very much a like outreach tool, in my opinion. Like I see a lot more new viewers than existing viewers from them.
I'm not like a shorts guy. I don't watch YouTube shorts. I don't really look on TikTok. But those videos tend to be very like high in viewer counts. Yeah. Like even if it is something like a bit more niche like what we have here. And like I mean with the rise of more short form content like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is hard to get new people in long form.
Oh,
And we got a game scout here. We were just talking about this guy. Yeah, saying that he agrees about more content creation. I feel like this point's especially like good to talk about because we literally just talked about him as like the apex and go-to example of what we want to replicate.
yeah. I remember it would be interesting to see something like that. I remember one of the first classic Tetris videos I watched was like I think it was on the classic Tetris channel. And it was on Quaid. And it was like it was both like it was just like an insight to like how he played during like one specific year, but it was still like, you know, a documentary of sorts, and it was still very interesting to go through. Like trying to do something like that would be very fun, but it would also take a lot of research.
Yeah, it'd take a lot of research and time. I just don't think that the dedicated person is like popped up for that yet. And I will say there are several ongoing projects where people are like slowly trying to dip their toes into writing documentary content. So I think over this year and the next, you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of this. So this is just like kind of planting the seed of the idea. And who knows, maybe if some more dedicated community people watch this, they might want to flex their video editing. We might see some more.
Like if we got a documentary on, say, like Kazu or Akashi Robo, like that would be, I think, really huge.
Yeah, that would be bigger. Even just focusing on more of like the North American side, especially if it's like in English, that would be like a Firestorm doc, Blarg doc. Those are two of the big players I think people want to talk about.
OSW
is also a really good one. I'm trying to think of it. Jaden would be probably pretty good to write a doc on. And funnily enough, most of the names I'm thinking of are from Puyo. So that's kind of interesting, but we're not talking about that here. And then I think other than that, probably Westel is going to be the next one, but I think he needs a bit more history. But
yeah,
he's up
Westel's
there.
fairly new, all things considered.
There's like a lot of influential players. There's a lot of content and lore to like build off of here. It's just going to be a right place, right time kind of scenario, I think, for that one. But yeah, just in terms of growing that. And then there's also the argument of like we can make video content that energizes the existing community. Like news recap videos. Like if someone, this is an experiment that happened before, if someone just made like MMC news videos, like with MMC, and they just announced the news on a video format, I think that would be huge.
NXT?
For NXT, you need to recruit some on-air hosts. Just because when I think about, I feel like most
if you want an MMC news anchor, I mean,
David Commando. David Commando.
Just put my name like that. Put my name like that at the bottom. Just like, but yeah, honestly, covering MMC news would, like, we already have like a lot of content that gets covered in MMC news.
Because if you think about it, the writing barrier is gone.
Yeah,
because that just gets written. It would just be someone like announcing it, and then like you could link back to the article for people who want to like read more information. So it's just something to think about. I think like a lot of the news stuff and like topics, like we cover like LAN events that are hosted on this show. But I would say that podcasts aren't necessarily as accessible as like a 10-minute YouTube video. You have to set aside a lot of time specifically for this show because we go on.
Because we're very good at sticking to our schedule, and we end each episode at the same length of time very consistently, as I'm sure what you were about to say.
The same length of time being 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. That's consistent right there, you know?
Oh man. But yeah, I think that covers the whole YouTube sphere of what we wanted to mention here. Next up, I want to talk about player-based marketing. Anyone know what I'm talking about here?
I have an I might have thoughts on this, but you can.
So there are two ways we've seen
Yeah.
this done. The first one is invitationals, the Square One Tetris Championship, for instance, where we run a tournament with some of the most popular or best players in the world, and then you release marketing material alongside those players. So, for example, we had like video trailers for like Dormy and Promo one year. This year, 2023 was a bit more laid back as far as the Square One Invitationals.
Yeah, but we had that huge reveal video.
Yeah, but in place of individual player trailers, there was a huge reveal trailer, which kind of gave dramatic intros to all the players. So that's that was like a big one that we tried out this year. Event trailers have worked really well, and sort of kind of bringing people out for the biggest events. And then you take the Tetrio Cup perspective. So this Tetrio Cup perspective is where you're talking about an open bracket, but to get people to watch the open bracket, you are kind of basing the marketing around 1 to 3 players. Now this has its drawbacks, being that it is an open event that is played in one day. Perhaps one time, like the star of your event poster could retire before the tournament starts. And then the namesake of your tournament could no longer exist. So this is not a throwing of shade, because this could happen to any event that uses this like method of marketing, but it's more of a like, if you choose to do this, be very careful. Make sure, like, talk to the players that you're using your marketing material beforehand. Make sure that they are that they have very solid plans in terms of being able to compete, and move on. And that worked really well for Tetrio Cup 15, where CZ did not retire before the event started. Hit like record viewership that was held for a very long time. And the only thing that dethroned it was Worlds. It's still the largest tournament for Tetrio other than Worlds that has happened. And I mean, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, marketing around the players can be huge to viewers, because you're kind of, as you could see like Tetrio Cup 13, whatever, as you're like, oh, I might watch it for a little bit. But if you hear like Tetrio Cup 15 with CZ Small on the poster, who's known like around the community to be #1 in the world, you're probably gonna want to block away some time to watch like the end of the stream. Yeah. Like you're gonna be thinking about that. You're thinking about it.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, what's gonna happen here? Yeah,
you're gonna be thinking about it as Tetris Cup, where the #1 player in the world is going to be participating. And I think there are ways to effectively do this for like a one-day event. And this kind of goes more in talking about the logistics of our tournaments. Like, should we be ending signups an hour before it starts, or should we be ending them 24 before? Or then 24 hours before, you can like fill out a template with like the top players in it, and then market that. You know what I mean? Or like maybe a week before signups close, confirm with some of the top players who are already signed up if you know they are going to be able to 100% participate, and then the ones who are 100% confirmed, drop them on a graphic and promote it.
Yeah, the logistics are really hard for that kind of thing.
Logistics are hard, but they're not impossible, and it has led to results. So that's something that also can be mentioned.
Like if you're gonna like market around like players, you should like you need to plan like very heavily around it.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of communication is needed for that in specific. More so than just regularly running the tournament with like your own brand and only trying to use that brand to kind of market that out.
Yeah, one of the things relating to this that connects to something we had talked a little bit about earlier was Tetrio and Tetris games overall exist in a weird nexus of not fitting great into a lot of other multiplayer versus game genres. Where you have the question of, is this a puzzle game? Is this a fighting game? Is it like you have that sort of question, because normally the people who want to watch puzzle games aren't going to be the same people who want to watch competitive tournaments. And the people who want to watch fighting games are not going to be the same people who are going to think to turn to puzzle games to do so. So it can be very hard to attract with the premise of the game alone. So for events which are marketing around players' ability, it's their job to convey not just that, hey, we have X, Y, or Z player, but we have X, Y, or Z player, and they are this good at this game and are a feared opponent. The concept of making interesting matches and interesting battles is going to be necessary for any big tournament. Part of the reason TWC did so well was not just because it had the top players, it's because it had all the top players. Practically every currently active player was going to be there, and because of that, you knew that the interaction between those players was going to get exponentially better. Just having one top player or one top talent isn't going to be enough to pull in a game like this, because people who aren't already going to watch the event aren't going to be drawn in by the premise of someone being good at just Tetris. That doesn't share the versus ability and how they're the pinnacle of a player base.
I do agree with that. I think video trailers are like really good for that stuff, because you include like clips from commentary that talk about specific abilities. You can actually show their gameplay. You can drive a lot of hype through video trailers, and video trailers worked well like in the Square ones specifically at that, because they mentioned specific players.
I was gonna point back to Square One, because like I still think that's probably like one of the best things made for like for the Tetris scene in general. Like I think it does a good job of showing off each player, even though like some of them are like, yeah, some of them were like objectively better than others, but each clip that was shown off that was highlighting each player still showed them in a really good light. It's still like sure, they were still marked it as like a certain tier, and they were still marked as like being, I don't want to say worse, but like some players were marked as being better than others with the tiers. But like even then, you can still see the clips for like the tier 4 players, and they're still impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we did a good job at highlighting each player's best skill in that trailer. We spent a lot of time looking for clips in that production, which is really nice. Then we have some points here in chat talking about better to grow the player base than to grow the viewership within the existing player base. So I kind of I half agree. Here, let me lay it out like this, right? So you can grow the player base like all you want, and it's going to be good, especially for a niche game. But at a certain point, you're going to grow the player base, and then the player base is going to like not hear about certain events. So it's good to focus on both, because soon the existing player base is going to be big, but then only certain people are going to still be hearing about like series and stuff like that, especially outside of Tetrio, because the marketing isn't as direct. You've got to do both. Like, you've got to do both. But like, obviously, as a TO, I have the most experience in like working with what we have, people that we have, trying to come up with more interesting ways to get them involved. And there are people more content creation brained that have things in the other way. I think post-tournament highlight videos are also something that should be considered. Again, shout outs to Marshmallow. I talked this guy up a lot. And if it weren't probably for Marshmallow making Tetrio Cup highlight videos, I probably would have never hired him. Like, I'll just put it like that. Like that, that was exposed to me in a lot of ways. Because here's how I think about it. The people who were already interested in the pre-event marketing will have an interest in going to this post-event generated content. This is like post-event content showing the highlights from the tournament. Especially those who watched and couldn't make it to the end. Especially those who watched and couldn't see all the moments and were curious about more. And then at the same time, these would also drive like other puzzle game fans who did not watch the tournament at first to then view moments from the tournament and potentially become a fan of the series of tournaments. So those kind of have stopped coming around a little bit. And they've only really been a thing in the Tetris community. They haven't been seen in TEC and PvT. But I think generating post-event content is also something that we have not done a lot. We focused a lot on the pre-event content, the trailers, the advertising beforehand, but kind of after the stream, it goes blank. And like, match uploads work in terms of getting the full context and they're good for preservation. But at the same time, it's like you have to be really dedicated to watch like several 20-minute matches rather than a 20-minute compilation of all the sets.
Yeah.
And again, about post-event content, shorts work for this too. We can just take Twitch clips from the event, kind of narrate through them, talk through them, potentially get either like new commentary or just someone explaining the past clip, which Wiley's been doing a lot of those, where he'll like make shorts about existing clips on his Twitch channel, talk people through them, and then drive a call to action. And that's a really nice this is a really nice way to kind of do stuff. This is also good as well. I think we need more goofy, silly stuff that doesn't prioritize competitive gameplay. And this brings me to a point we have here in the Q&A. Not a very extensive one. We have gimmick tournament here submitted. I think that the title events we use kind of we use it too much in the meaning of like competitive tournament with like top 16 player in it, where it can also be used for like the Tetris Jeopardies of the world, the Super Streamer Lobby or Hard Drop Extalis Super Lobbies of the world, the the Gimmick Gala of the world, which is Infinite Finesses of the world. And there was like one time where there's some kind of UC game show or something. I don't know if it's exactly a UC game show. It's like some guess the rank stuff.
Oh yeah, that was a YouTube series, and later full game. It was like Tetrattle or something. Is basically like you would be shown a replay and have to guess it from there. Smallfish and 25Pi25 had done some like video footage of them going through it and doing it as like content creators, but it was later released to the public as like an experience.
Yeah, I think like Tetrattle's still going.
Is it still being hosted?
I don't know. Like Sex Discord bio, I think still promotes it.
Dude, we gotta call him 25Pi25 on the stream. We can't be calling him.
Listen, man. That's too fucking much for me. I'm gonna be honest.
Dog. Okay. Back to the topic. Like a lot of people do enjoy gimmick tournaments. Like they have a sizable audience. Gimmick Gala, the first one, was one of the most popular like unbannered Tetrio tournaments outside of WPL. So people definitely enjoyed them. And like Tetrio also works well for meme tournaments, not only because like there's certain like associated events like Super Streamer Lobby can like develop custom game modes, but also just the default settings themselves are really customizable. We can do a lot with those settings, and that's also something kind of important to bring up there.
Then you can get someone like Zudo to enter, or you could get someone like Zudo to just enter your lobby and then absolutely mess with your game.
Zudo, Dimancio, all those folks who come in.
Yeah.
And, like recently, we had like a big highlight reel that was like surrounded around that I released. There's like a lot of stuff about
Yeah, it's still the most like fun thing about Tetrio probably.
I'll say the next video we're working on for the like one devout Edge fan here that's curious. The reason why there haven't been any highlight reels the past few weeks is because we're making a full supercut of the Subathon Gimmick Gala that's going to be coming out. So we got like a huge video.
That Gimmick Gala was very arduous.
It's about like 90% complete. It might go out on Wednesday. I'm probably just gonna put it out as soon as possible because it's a really good event.
It was a
that's even a good example of how gimmick tournaments are good in itself, because like the gimmick gala 2 was not like really promoted too well, but it got a good amount of like viewership within like my own community. So it was just a good way to energize that as well, since I have a lot of like Tetris fans in my community, and just kind of giving them something to look forward to would be like really nice. But yeah, more game shows would be like really cool. I think game shows are underexplored in this community. Like in particular, there was Tetris Jeopardy one time, for the one time. There's
We're trying to run it again.
Square One Jeopardy still in progress. One day.
Soon, TM.
And then there's obviously like Guess the Rank, other stuff like that. There are games in like more digestible formats that can be made like related to Tetris, trivia, all that good stuff that could also be informative at the same time. Like people could learn facts and lore about players. Which is cool for like the more moderate side of the community, but like the but again, Tetris is a very like customizable kind of game. At Tetrio in specific, so like doing silly stuff is very possible there. Can bring people into the community where then they'll kind of enjoy the more enthusiast grade content.
We also have. Can we mention Tetris Survivor again?
Dog.
We can talk about Tetris Survivor. That was an interesting example. That was kind of almost a degree removed from normal Tetris content, where Tetris was more the medium than the focus. Like, at the end of the day, Tetris Survivor was more about the interaction between the participants than it was about Tetris ability. It was intentionally designed in a way where Tetris ability does not correspond to success in Survivor. And that, on its own, is a very cool concept, but not necessarily in the same vein as things like Tetris Jeopardy and as things like normal tournaments, where it's not necessarily going to have the same draws.
Yeah, and I mean that whole format is just interesting in itself. Like I'd say it's more of a Tetris is like the designation of like the roots of the people who were like playing in it, rather than like it having anything to do with Tetris. Like, you know, like for instance, like you could run a fucking VTuber Jeopardy with, like, I don't know, someone name some VTubers. I don't know any of them.
Like Tetris VTubers specifically?
No, I'm just speaking in general about like the VTubing community. Like someone could run a VTuber Survivor.
Yeah,
like a bunch of big VTubers.
Name more Tetris VTubers than actual VTubers.
I can name Azura Horizons.
Exactly. Are you name Azura, Rad, Ray?
Oh yeah, Rad's technically a VTuber.
Churro, aka Cerno-chan 01.
Churro's also a VTuber. I think a Churro was a musician.
JD Moon.
JD is another. Who else? There's like a good amount.
There were five nominated for VTuber of the year, and like I think we only hit like 2 of those.
I ran the Stacky
shout outs
stream.
to 25po25.
Okay. I ran the Stacky stream and I could literally only name one of the 5 nominees when thinking about VTubers.
I could
Damn.
Wait, Misty was nominated.
Huge.
Oh, it's Misty. Yes, is another. There's someone else who I'm trying. Does Hugh stream with a VTuber? Me Too in chat says Selena is still alive, guys. She's huffing the copium as we speak. The last 4 Selena streams have all been because she was forced by someone else to stream. So believe what you want to believe.
All I'm saying is Selena's not playing Overcooked at 2 o'clock in the morning with the boys.
Tell 'em.
That's true.
Selena, if you're watching this podcast, I want you to DM me right now with a screenshot of Overcooked 2 and your Steam library installed on your computer.
Selena's hella not watching the podcast.
That's true.
Selena doesn't know when Sussy Sunday is. It's the same time every week, and it doesn't run. And she still doesn't know when that shit is.
I mean, you'd figure by the day of the week, right?
Yeah, well.
And yeah, here we are.
Oh yeah, Sussy Sunday exists. We can talk about that, I guess.
That's like barely. That's
well,
like
okay.
what
That
you were saying about how
like,
it's just
that-
Tetris
if
people.
if Tetris Survivor is a degree separated from like Tetris gimmicks, Sussy Sundays is like 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Sussy Sunday used to be relevant.
Well, Sussy Sunday died, so like
But-
Sussy Sunday just doesn't happen anymore.
But the idea
It
of
just
this, I think what I was trying to lean more towards was like cross community content creator collaboration. It's
The
kind of what I
alliteration was
leaning.
crazy.
And I was getting there. It was taking a while, but I was getting there. Where it's just like I think of a lot of content. I think of like a lot of the edited content, like the ores guides are ones in specific. I think, oh shit, Commando, you'll probably be the one. Remind me who's making the zone battle tutorial series. Elso? Is it Elso?
I believe it's Elso alongside a few other people. I think it might be It
Huge,
might
by the
just
way.
be Elso, but Elso is the big one.
When I think of like the main edited content that we've had so far, which are like guides and stuff, like there's not a lot of collaboration within those. Whereas, in some recent shorts that Wiley and Lyra have been doing, they've been featuring each other in the shorts. It's like kind of huge. I think a lot of us on the content creation side are very like individualistic. Where like I think one of the main reasons why like whenever I've done a subathon it's succeeded is because I get a shit ton of people around, and we we grow around that. And Wiley's had successful marathons and community events with his own stream that have centered around the same principle. And I think seeing more of that within like the space, like I'll put it like this, okay? And this just shows that like an individual content creator is more valuable than any event themselves. I recently heard that a Beyond the Summit Smash Summit, a Melee Smash Summit, averaging like 50,000 viewers, got a $30,000 sponsorship deal for the whole weekend. Or for the whole 4-day event. The same, or not the same, a Ludwig branded event that ran for less days with less than 50% of the viewership received a $50,000 sponsorship deal. I think it was a
I'm so not
17,000
surprised
viewer
by that.
average. There's I think it was 2 days instead of 4. I think it was still Smash related as well. It was like a tournament. It wasn't something more like deeply branded. But just because Ludwig is the one selling you fucking, I don't know, Cheerios
Or G Fuel
instead of Smash Summit, like that that's just it's just crazy. It might have even been $50,000. It might have been even more money. I just know that the Smash Summit was 30K. So if we think about that in terms of just like the broader scope, is just like the having familiar faces can like engage the audience pretty well, which is why for certain events I've experimented promoting the commentators we've had. Well, just like
I am a
about
hella
commentators.
believer in commentator promotion. I'm a big fan of that, just as a general concept.
Because there are
'Cause
people
I
who are
think
like
that-
Badgoblin and Commando commentary fans, and they will watch a tournament because Badgoblin and or Commando are commentating.
Yes, I came from the other side of that where there's like no way for me to find them, but I would really enjoy hearing like Renge or Modest or Sign or people like that commentating. And there was no way for me to like seek out those events. There would be no way for me to know. I would just happen
Yeah.
upon an event and be like, oh, it's these people commentating. I'm interested now. But I think using that as a draw is a big missed opportunity in a lot of tournaments.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even think about that as an aspect.
Yeah, it's something to think about because like a lot of people are like into the on-air talent. They're gonna be hearing them for the entire time. A lot of people are like fans of specific commentary. Like I know a lot of people are like Modest Tomato fans, Sign fans, Commando, Davo, Badgoblin. Who are other people you're talking about? Johnny Bones, Azura.
Oh yeah, Johnny Bones.
I'm just fucking
That's
naming commentators at this point, but
I mean,
a
yeah,
lot of people enjoy the commentary, and just knowing that your favorite commentator will be in the stream. Like, for example, I'm not a big Smash guy, but I love myself watching some fucking TK Breezy videos, okay? If I hear that TK Breezy's commentating like some fuck ass Smash top 4, you bet your ass I'm gonna be watching it. So think of it from like the broadest perspective. That could happen for us.
But that finally removed the need for the comms commands on TO Twitch channels.
Listen, I swear half of y'all just be typing that shit to fuck with us. Like, you don't type it 'cause you
absolutely love that information when information just straight up doesn't get updated on streams, and you use like exclamation point commentators, exclamation point bracket, and it's like 3 tournaments old, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Who is talking right now? And then they'll just like tell you, and at that point, it's like, well, if you're a moderator telling me this, perhaps you could have updated the command.
There are some people who will just type like comms as soon as like the intermission is over, like when the comm
before you can even change it. Before you even
and they're like, "Oh, we caught you on a technicality. Ooh, you guys are lazy." Like, dude, come on, touch grass.
True. But yeah, I think I delivered all my main points, which are like focus more on YouTube, advertise the players in a correct way. Like, talk about who's playing in the correct way, talk about who's commentating in the correct way. It's really all in terms of the point where I think we're capped out currently on like our event production capabilities with a few minor changes.
Production's like really good right now.
Let me rephrase that. We are starting to excel at like the during event production. I'm not only going to hold up my middle finger when trying to do this point.
Start with your pinky, dude.
True. Okay. So we're not trying to do like we're pretty good at like the during event production. We're almost excelling at pre-production. I think amping post-production, getting the VODs out faster, post-tournament highlight videos, post-tournament shorts, stuff like that. Like, even GDQ has seen some success with these, where I feel like speedruns are very hard to make shorts about. Is the only things that are like in duration you can make shorts about are like tricks.
Yeah, and like certain
kind of want to explain them, but they've even had success with them. So if GDQ can have success with making shorts, then we sure as hell can. And Wiley
I know a few
has
people.
been like a main proprietor in showing this. Lyra's been catching up, so it's been really good. Like, generating content around the events, either from individuals or the organization themselves, depending on what kind of thing it is, will then feed back into it, and we'll start the feedback loop with people like bringing more general audiences to their personal brands, those people hosting events of the tournament organization, and just seeing the maximum amount of interest possible for like an event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I know Misty was trying. I know Misty with Full Throttle was experimenting with like getting tournament highlights done in the form of shorts.
Yeah, that's.
I remember seeing
that.
Yeah, I remember even seeing like highlights of like things from Ultima Cup Infinity, which like just happened, which is pretty substantial, I think. Like if more organizations get that kind of like output more consistently across like everyone else, like especially if Puzzle Kingdom or like Hummingbird Nest or like whatever tourney orgs are still around these days, like
fucking Edge's Emporium.
Yeah, Galactic. But yeah, like if the rest of the tourney orgs can start to like follow that sort of output and start to make like shorts and like just upload the VODs, like
it'd be massive
soon. Yeah, it would be really huge, I think, because it'd just be like, oh, this event just happened. It's like are they gonna do anything like that soon?
Yeah, and then the other thing I'll say as well for like content for people in the Tetris community, dude, make stream highlight reels, okay? Like, I've been running it for like 2 months by now, and like we've already seen some like pretty big results for the channel, just with like good ideas. Like, if you if you're a good video editor, or you can like you can find a good video editor, or if you're a good video editor yourself, you can make some high energy content. It's fucking great. You're gonna enjoy watching them back. You're personally gonna enjoy them. Your current viewers are gonna enjoy them, and if it's good enough for new audience members, they will enjoy them as well. And yeah, you can cater to both short and long form consumers. Like, absolutely, you don't have to pick one. But one thing that I'm saying is just like some individuals, like as hobbyists, will only have like an interest in making one kind of content. Because we're not talking about specifically what event orgs can do. We're talking about what anyone can do if they have any interest in growing the scene surrounding events.
Yeah.
And like, for example, in my case, I've not been a heavily like short form invested guy, but I can still work on promoting events in a long form way, and they will still work. Shorts are definitely the best way to get the most new eyes on something as possible, but of course there's the idea of energizing the existing player base more than we already do. Long form videos are going to be great at that, and that's something that I just have a passion for personally. So it's something that I'll probably be pushing a lot. And there are ways to convert long form videos into shorts. I personally have to look more into it. Like we might, it's just something that I need to experiment with more myself as a content creator and can get better at. But right now, I just focus more on long form because it's what I have the most experience with. So I've been doing it for a long time, and it's what I watch the most. I watch more YouTube long form than anything.
Like some people just have better workflows on working on one thing, and like they don't really want to like split up their time on both if they know that like they're not going to do well working on one thing.
Yeah, they're both tools that are going to get like people invested. Like both long form and short form are both going to be tools that get people into something. It's just a matter of when they collide. And that'll be interesting to see.
If one person can do both pretty like on a good level, then like more power to them. It's just that like not everyone has that kind of power. Like they don't have that kind of ability. They don't have that kind of time, especially. That's like one of the big things is that time or resources in general can be pretty hard for some people.
Yeah, I mean we're all hobbyists at the end of the day. When the passion flows all at one time, we're gonna see a massive explosion. This year definitely has a potential for it. There are a lot of short form people busting on the scene. Hopefully by the summer I have a consistent like short form workflow and I'm making that content. I've been toying with it, but I'll probably just get shorts edited once my budget kind of expands for these kinds of videos. Time, money, resources, the big three are tricky, and currently right now most people only have two. It might only have one.
Might not even have any of them.
Yeah, so it's just be interesting to see how we grow. I think in terms of like the modern era of making events, we are still only 3 years in. Like 2021, 2022, 2023. We're only through our third year.
Yeah, when did I enter the scene? I think there's a correlation.
Commando is the reason for it all.
It's all my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, we only got 2 of the 3. Commando took the third one.
I ate it. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll phrase it like this: it's like, okay, money, the willingness to spend the time you have, and resources. I wouldn't say the willingness to spend your time is like separate from time to dedicate, because like you could have like I could have 16 hours in a day, but there still may be only 3 hours that I want to dedicate to Tetris stuff in a day, and those would just be the time in that category. I would also say that skill is a resource. It's not a finite resource in the terms of it is a finite resource, but it's one of the easiest resources you can build. There's a lot of free knowledge available, but I'd call skill a resource. I don't know if that's like a hot take or not. It's mainly just the English language and like how you interpret it.
Yeah. No, I think it's the same. So I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
Do we have like Any other
But yeah,
things from the Q&A?
there's nothing from my end. If you guys have any other points before we hit up our Q&A section, still open by the way. If you guys want to submit comments that we'll talk about on here, feel free.
I think the one other thing I would mention is the puzzle game community overall is not dying, despite what people may tell you. It is still actively growing. It has been trending towards a higher rate of growth and will continue to trend towards a higher rate of growth.
Are people saying it's dying?
Oh, people say that the community's dying all the time.
Everyone,
that.
I think people like to say that because they're just like, oh yeah, the people I talk to aren't the same. Dead, bye. Like, I think that's.
I have a theory.
I think it's just like.
Go ahead first, then I'll explain my theory.
I was gonna say a lot of people I feel like who say that the community's dead are just scared of getting out of their own boundaries to talk to other people because I mentioned before, like, there's the enhanced community and they stay within their own little thing, but like if you like, and there's no really fault to stay in one community, that's completely fair, but like as soon as you step outside of that and go to other communities, you'll see a lot more different people. Like, sure, you'll see a lot of familiar faces, but of course there's going to be overlap between communities if they all have something in common.
For sure.
But like, I don't think it's not dying, but it is definitely fragmented. That like there is a huge fragment within it, and that's probably why a lot of people also say it's dead. In that case, I guess just like reach out more. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna speak on this specifically here, dude. I actually forget my point. Fuck. Oh yeah, it's just like people are saying that our shit is like dying, right? Are probably only saying it's dying because people who they are friends with are moving on from the community, which is kind of like a cliff notes of what you were just talking about. And then they're just like, oh, everyone who I know who interacts with this game is leaving. It's dead. No! Be more social! There are more players than just your group of 5 Tetrio friends! Fuck! What the fuck?
Like a lot of people, like, I understand a lot of people in the Tetris space are very introverted. So like just saying, oh, just make more friends is a lot easier said than done. I understand that.
I mean,
like,
it's obviously like I'm just
like,
fucking around.
It's like but like you can't take your little like slice of this pie and then claim that that's the whole thing.
Yeah, like people leave and go all the time. Like like people could technically use the argument that the community is dying because Edge retired from Puzzle Kingdom leadership. Why is he leaving? Why did he retire?
Why did he retire? Oh, is the puzzle game community dying? No, Edge just wanted to do other shit.
It's not even just doing other like shit. I want to do more shit in a different way. Like I'm moving on from like the puzzle game TO grind. I like this format a lot. This show's giving me like a great way to stay connected with the community without being like an active TO. We can talk about events here. We can talk about the community here. And you know, we can still have a bridge with the puzzle game fan base from the show, which is really nice. And it's just less of a time commitment. Running events takes a lot of work, and if I need to diversify to do other stuff, like sitting down with some of your community boys for like a couple hours each week is way easier to do.
Dude, I'll sit in the production channels for TOs, like ready to commentate the next like tournament block, and I can already tell there's like a lot of stress that production has to go through. Like people are busting their ass, man. Yeah, but like the community's not dying. Like, Enhance has grown significantly in the past 2 years. I remember when it was like a group of like 20 active people, and now it's like in the thousands, and there's a lot. There's just so much. There's so many people there. And
I mean, I put it this way. It's like normally if you're a company you're hiring people only if they can provide more worth to the company than what they're paying you. And the fact that Enhance has hired Beast and Shen to run their community surrounding like not only their new titles but mainly a lot around TEC just shows that how much they value their community, where they have a regular social media marketing team alongside Austin or Shen, whose job is specifically to activate the members that their marketing team brings in. And like they view that engagement as very valuable.
There's also like a weird conception that people have that when people step away from the community or even just like take a break, they like die.
Yeah.
Like I gotta make this public. Yo, Wrench is around. He streams Pokemon like pretty often. And he appeared on Cowbell's stream and he played Balatro when it came out. And I talked to him about it.
So
and, like he's here. Like people, just because they aren't taking an active role in the community doesn't mean they like hate you in particular. Like you can still be friends with people even if you're
retiring
not
from the community and it's all your fault. It's all your fault. You made me do that.
Maybe
you know how people like post notes when they leave? Someone should just post a note and it's like this is entirely like username's fault and then just leave, delete all socials. Just go out with a bang.
It's just like I have a list of people who are responsible for like me retiring, and it's just like bam, 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 bam. Call out a bunch of people for no reason.
Wiley also says that like me using the word retirement probably didn't help, and I agree it didn't, but I think it's less on like what the word retiring means. It's more like some people interpret it like in the most extreme scenario, like they interpret it as like their grandma like retiring from working forever and she's just gonna play bingo every Tuesday and that's like the rest of her life and she's down for that.
To be fair, Edge does play bingo every Tuesday.
My mom does. There's a fun fact. There's some Edge lore. My mom
You're gonna follow in her
bingo
footsteps
every Tuesday
They
with my grandma
of the
and my
old, that's all I'm
great-grandma.
saying.
Listen, Overcooked.
Damn, the Edge generations just play bingo. Like,
hey, anyone in the chat? Overcooked 2 on sale right now for $6 on Steam. Pick that up.
All these kids fucking do is eat hot chip and play Overcooked at 2 a.m. That's all I'm saying.
Eat hot chip and Tetrio.
That game is fire.
It is fire.
Yeah, but then there's just also retirement is in like you're retiring like from a role, and that is what the retiring from Puzzle Kingdom thing meant. Like I'm still around PK. I would view this as like, imagine that my role in Puzzle Kingdom is like an oil baron who's on like the board of directors for like a company. Like I'm just around to help make the big decisions and give advice. Like I'm never really on the floor doing shit.
Edge is the oil baron of Puzzle Kingdom is an awesome takeaway for the episode, I think.
Dog, I'm like the water baron because that shit like costs no money at restaurants. I don't have oil.
You're the oil baron specifically in really, really dry areas with really diverse foliage that you can't actually dig into because you've been banned from doing so by the government. Just not a good business idea.
Central Australia. I mean, actually, they
Shout
might
outs
have
to
great
Wiley.
oil there.
Wiley, how's the oil down there?
True.
Actually, wait, with the oil, it would actually be, wait, no, it's easy to get oil in Australia. It flows up out of the ground because it's like the ceiling, so it drops down automatically. They don't even need to refine.
I don't know
it.
where's this going.
To hell, I don't know.
Michigan?
You could say to Australia. Now that's a weird overlap in my head.
Hell, in parentheses, Australia.
But
I know where I'm going though. In 1 week, MTS. Shoutouts.
Yeah, we will be having
MTS is bigger. I'm pretty sure this is bigger than MTS3.
Yeah, this MTS is gonna be pretty hype.
MTS
I think.
4. Yeah,
Also,
MTS 4.
by the way, y'all,
before you ask
I'm
in chat,
ready.
I'm not
Not
taking
going.
the 7 a.m. train.
Buy your pass. Buy your tournament pass. If you haven't for MTS3, buy your pass. Don't be like a Snow's Infinite.
Don't be the asshat who just does it last minute because fun fact, if you do that, all the TOs hate you.
Me, I
Oh,
fucking hate you.
I bought mine already. I gotta change mine to add PPT because I suck at PPT, but I'm like, I mean, I'm just going for fun anyway.
It
And
truly doesn't
it's not like
matter
I'm
if
gonna
you
win
win
Tetris.
I remember when
Red.
Snow is Infinite had a start.gg page. I already had that shit signed up. Like,
Yeah, because
and then
like,
there's
I don't
so
know.
many there were so many people who just signed up like when they were already in fucking Canada. Like,
I'm about
please
to
don't do
add
that.
PPT2 right now. Never played it before. I've only ever played
Sweet.
PPT1 Switch. It's gonna go hard.
I have to say, after playing PPT2 more, I like it more.
All right.
That makes sense. I think it would be bad if you didn't.
No, see, the thing is, I play more of Tetrio and I hate it even more. So it's like,
Well, but there's no
I-
Tetris. Well, it's like compared to PPT1, do you like PPT2 better?
yeah, probably.
But compared to Gestress, do you like Tetrio better?
No, I'd
There you
rather play
go.
Gestress. I played more and more of Tetrio and I hate it even more.
That's crazy. But yeah, we'll
Dude,
head over to the Q&A for our final points before we wrap up today. Baron sending in, time and time again, we said that fast games like Tetris are too fast for the general public to get interested in. Does this imply that slow Tetris is the way to go for expanding the community? No. Okay.
No, not at all.
So let's break this down real quick. I'll try and speedrun this as fast as possible. Let me know if you guys wanted any further context, all right? So let's think about this. The two premier slow Tetris games, tuning limit's a better term because they're fast.
Oh,
The world records are fast for these games. People still play them fast, right?
But I can't change my tuning, so it's slow.
I can't play at 3 ARR. Or death.
Oh,
Shit,
actually,
wrong one. But yeah, it's just like I think if anything, fast games or tuning unlimited, better term. More of you need to use that. You guys use tuning limit, but not tuning unlimited. And that's kind of a shame. But yeah, tuning unlimited games often are less expensive or free, so they're actually the better way to go for expanding the community.
It's so easy. Like yeah, when it comes to like PPT2 or TEC, you have to pay $40 to get a copy of the game. Meanwhile, you can literally just type Tetrio, like Tetr.io, whatever the fuck.
And
you can just type Tetrio into your browser and then just play it.
And then your boy Jason can like log in and fuck up quick play.
And then your friend like Tommy who thinks he's better than you, but like only has like a B rank APM. Is gonna be like, yeah,
left a review on your Steam page, $40.
My like, a lot of my friends actually did that kind of thing. Like they tell I'd tell them I play Tetris. Like they'd boot up Tetris and it's like, hey, can I play you in this? And it's like, I was like, yeah, sure. And
people in my high school did that. Like I actually kind of made like Tetris like a kind of wing phenomenon.
One of my friends told me that one of my friends told me that their friend played Tetrio and they wanted me to like beat them and kick their ass. But that's never been expanded on ever since they told me about it.
I will just be sitting in school playing like Tetrio every once in a while. Just like sitting and hanging out and talking to friends. And I'll be talking as I'm playing, and like every once in a while someone will just like walk up behind me and I'm like playing Blitz or something, so I'm like putting pieces down fast and they'll just walk up behind me like, holy shit, how are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know, I have a lot of practice. I'm like, that's insane. And then I'm like, I mean, like, this is no like realistically, this is no different than if you see someone hitting like cool shots in like a shooter. But the difference for conception is that when people think of Tetris, they think of classic, and they think of very relatively slow placements over a very long time span. So seeing tuning unlimited Tetris instantly makes people just appear to be better.
Yeah, and I guess more knowledge around the differences would be cool as well, which again can be made in video content. True.
Hopefully we're getting those at some point, you know?
It would be huge to see that, and that's I think that's kind of the last point that I want to bring up. There are a couple of other ones that could rapid fire. Like we talked about Tetris community members doing things other than Tetris, which are like community building events. We talked about Survivor. We talked about that
And
stuff.
speaking of, I got a ping, and Wumbo is doing late night Among Us.
Well, yeah, in theory, because he's now in the Korean time zone, so now it starts even later. So we'll have to see if that positively or negatively affects participation. Currently, there are not enough people that it's going to run.
Like, he always says react with like the green thinking Puyo if you're available
Shout
to play.
And yellow Puyo Think, which is just red Puyo Think in disguise. Ain't fucking nobody who reacts with yellow Puyo Think show up later.
Every single time that comes up, I always put just the red Puyo Think because like I'm not available, and if I were, I don't really care. And then shout outs to Zynex for paying me despite me already reacting with red Puyo Think.
Bro, Zynex tried to get me to play to fill out a 5th player slot by like doing not what I asked from a joke I made in July of 2023.
Damn, pull up the files.
Yeah, I said that if Zynex had a mukbang full of chicken-related items and she streamed herself eating them all and she genuinely enjoyed herself, that I'd play one night of Among Us. And then, like, several months later, she sent me a message, like, a couple weeks ago that was like, hey, if I eat a chicken sandwich, will you play Among Us?
Singular.
That's one chicken item, not on her stream. She's not showing herself eating with her face, like, gobbling it up, enjoying herself. And she and she said she hated the sandwich. Okay. Not fulfilling any of the 3 requirements. And I was just like, no,
no, 0 out of 3 requirements. Did I win?
It's just like Uno challenge fail sound. Like
the wet one or the dry one?
Both.
Simultaneous.
Exactly. So that's just a little bit of a thought there. But yeah, that wraps up our Q&A. Are we wrapping up how can we grow Tetris events?
Are we finishing a VODcast on time ish?
Oh,
not real.
Only an hour and a half.
I have a meeting and shit. So I got to get to that.
God damn, we really did it.
Yeah, and next week I think we're confirmed talking with Johnny Bones about MTS.
Stay tuned.
Next week we're gonna have Johnny Bones on for the MTS4 retrospective.
Probably same time, you know.
Yeah.
Same time next week. We can't really have it on Friday because that's
have it on Friday.
Have it on Friday. Hey, Johnny Bones, how do you feel about the event? How'd the event go?
MTS retrospective pre-recorded.
Yeah, but if you're thinking about watching MTS,
responses.
All I'm saying is I will be 4-wide 1v1 in Firestorm again and taking more of their money. This shit is free. They proposed it. I'm 3 for 3 on getting Firestorm's money. This is an infinite money scheme.
I wish I was there. I wish I was there to see it. Legit. I wish I could have been.
It's okay. We'll hold up the tournament for an hour again.
Huge.
Yeah, like unfortunately, I don't think either me or Davo's gonna make it, so we can't recreate the amazing image.
I'll soy jack in your honor. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up.
If we've got no more Q&As, I think we're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, we are wrapped. All right. Is it that time?
I think it might be. With that concluded, we have determined finally the one true definitive answer with no strings attached that works every time, guaranteed. How you can grow your Tetris events. And with that, it's true. Play more.
Play more, aka make more video.
Actually, wait, hold on. You saying play more just made me. I gotta check what Tetrio Tips is up to.
Oh yeah.
It is currently the Stacky Awards VODcast. It's back to that. It had switched off that. We're back now.
Sam.
Good to know. I gotta know who runs that. I feel like
who runs that, and whoever does, you might want to update it with this video. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, but speaking of this video, we got to cap it off.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
Thank you very much for watching the
VODcast. We out of here.
Good gravy.
Good fucking gravy.
Good gravy.
Saying that at the end.
Dude, the eyebrows that you hit as you said that were crazy. you hit VOD and you had like the most upset possible facial expression.
Oh my
You're
god.
Listen, man, I still think it's
disdainful
dumb,
at
but like
having to
I
say
have,
it.
like I feel bad if I don't keep up the pattern is the problem. I have to keep it up, otherwise